Could this vaccine change your DNA?
It doesn't have anything to do with your DNA, and it certainly won't change it.
It's all garbage. No truth to the fact that the mRNA vaccines are modifying our DNA.
mRNA is not able to alter or modify a person's genetic makeup or DNA.
This is something which has sort of been spread as a bit of a conspiracy theory. None of these vaccines that we're using have any impact on your body's DNA whatsoever.
mRNA vaccines do not change or interact with your DNA in any way.
COVID-19 vaccines don't change or interact with your DNA in any way.
COVID-19 mRNA vaccines do not alter or interact with your DNA in any way.
The vaccine never interacts with your DNA. It can't change your DNA.
They don't interact with your DNA and they can't change your DNA.
The COVID-19 vaccine cannot alter a person's DNA.
mRNA therefore cannot alter our DNA.
The vaccine itself is not going to alter your original DNA.
It does not alter your DNA.
The vaccine will not alter our DNA.
They do not alter a person's genes.
There has never been a vaccine produced to date that changes or alters your DNA or genetic material.
It's not changing your DNA.
It's not changing your DNA.
They do not impact our DNA.
The vaccine doesn't get into our DNA.
Does not affect your DNA.
The RNA messenger do not change who you are, your DNA.
Any of the COVID-19 vaccines in development don't have the potential to change our DNA.
There's no way for the vaccine to change your DNA.
There's no biologic plausibility at all for this to alter your genetics.
That's all sci-fi movie type stuff.
This vaccine is not physically capable of getting into your DNA.
There's no chance that the mRNA is going to enter into your own genes, into your own DNA.
There's a zero scientific chance of that happening.
There's no way that mRNA can change the DNA of our human cells.
There is no way for this to go in and change your DNA.
There's no way that it could interfere with your DNA.
There is absolutely no way in which the vaccine can change DNA.
So it's absolutely not true that it can alter your DNA. It's just biologically not possible.
It's not possible for it to get incorporated into DNA.
And so that means that the DNA is not being affected by the message of that RNA?
It has nothing at all to do with DNA at all. It doesn't touch the DNA. It doesn't go into the DNA. It just does not do that. It's physically impossible for it to do that.
It is not possible for messenger RNA to alter DNA. The chance of that happening is not small, it's zero.
Now brace yourself for the second perspective.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
This is Philip Dormitzer, Pfizer's Vice President and Chief Medical Officer for Vaccine Research. Just last month, he left for GSK, but back in December 2020, this is what he told the FDA Advisory Committee.
Although it's theoretically possible for a reverse transcriptase to act on RNA, we think that the probability is actually quite low that this would occur.
13 months later, Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla confirmed that mRNA is being developed specifically to edit DNA.
These are diseases, mainly that they have as a cause a mistake in your DNA. It's a genetic mistake. Something is wrong with your DNA, and as a result, you have a disease. What we try to do with the base gene editing technology, which Beam is a master, it is to produce targets that will be delivered through mRNA that will be able to correct this mistake.
This is confirmed by their press release. In a $1.3 billion deal, Pfizer is collaborating with a company called Beam in hope of treating rare genetic diseases by leveraging their base editing technology. Take a guess what this proprietary technology involves. Pfizer's COVID shot similarly contains mRNA and lipid nanoparticles, but in no way does this mean it was also designed to edit DNA. This is purely a coincidence. It is also a complete coincidence that just 6 weeks earlier, the world's most innocent philanthropist advertised this technology.
Editing DNA with precision has been a holy grail for scientists for decades. Some of the mistakes in DNA cause disease, genetic disease. If we could go in and fix those mistakes, we could save many, many lives and get rid of these diseases. You figure out a part of the DNA sequence that you want to change. Then you take the DNA that's nearby and create a guide in RNA, so that helps you locate the position. And then you link this Cas enzyme, which has the ability to do that cut and edit. And so pulling together this guiding RNA and this Cas enzyme, editing becomes possible.
The coincidence actually goes back over 7 years to the world's most favorite forum.
What if we had a text editor for DNA in cells? And it turns out that now we do. We think within the not too distant future it will be possible to actually use this technology to make changes in humans.
And so to summarize, the COVID shots contain mRNA and lipid nanoparticles, while the gene editing technology also contains mRNA and lipid nanoparticles. The difference is that the mRNA in the COVID shots tell your body to make spike protein, while the mRNA in gene editing tells the body to make the Cas9 scissor-like protein that goes snippy-snip to your DNA. This, of course, raises an important question. Who is programming the mRNA? But that's a question for another day. Till then, we'll have to direct you back to the most trustworthy man on the planet. So, once more with feeling, here is the expert opinion.
The vaccine has nothing at all to do with modifying your DNA. This rumor, as it were, that mRNA is going to somehow modify your own genes is completely and totally impossible.
If you found this valuable, be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon for more videos on The Second Perspective.